You are the voice of WWE. It's Michael Cole.
Thanks, guys. I am so excited to be here. We were talking right before the Rumble. I just said, hey, I should do your show one time.
Do you want to know why it happened so quick?
How?
Tiffy time canceled on us.
Oh, I'm a replacement for Tiffy. Way to go, guys. You We need stories so our fans can emotionally invest in our characters. Why do they hate Logan Paul? Because he's a cocky prick, right? And the crowd surfing thing was wild. That would have never happened under Vince McMahon. Michael Cole yeeting on a table would never happen. Trying to dap up rappers would have never happened under Vince McMahon.
But I was the original yeet, by the way.
Yeah, yeet! So did Jay steal it from you?
Yeet! Yes, and I'm sending him a cease and desist. Not a work.
I had a little run back when I was a heel where I actually got in the ring. Terrible what I did. But I took bumps, right?
Couldn't have been worse than mine.
Watch WrestleMania in 2011 when I had my match with Jerry. You know, I know at the time, we're about to go on the air live. It's all this pressure. I see Pat walk into Gorilla with these shorts on. What the f*** are you doing? Then he stormed off. And I'm like, where the f*** are you going? I'm not doing the show.
What? Let's talk about it. My gosh. Caleb, you rolling?
Yes, sir.
Shelby, you rolling?
Yes, sir. Ask me something.
Mike, are you rolling?
Yeah, not right now. That would be a show.
Yeah, right? That would be a show in its own.
Okay. Oh, man, I'm so proud to say this. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Michael Cole.
Thanks, guys. I am so excited to be here. Really,
Veteran.
seriously. It's funny when we were talking right before the Rumble about some stuff, and I just said, hey, I should do your show one time. And he's like, oh, my God, let's do it.
He's pumped.
I didn't expect to get a text, though, while I'm drinking in the bar at 12:30 at night to say, hey, can you be at the Hyatt at 12 o'clock tomorrow?
Do you want to know why it happened so quick?
How?
Tiffy time canceled on us.
Oh, I'm a replacement for Tiffy. Way to go, guys. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
I can be honest about it because I told you. When you said I got to be on your podcast, I was like, yeah, yes. Like, it'll happen eventually. We stagger the wrestlers because people just call us a wrestling podcast, which is partially true. It's a big part of my life now. But yeah, we had Tiffany on and she canceled and we were like, dang, so like we're screwed. And I was like, I just had this conversation with Michael, shot in the dark. Let's see if he's available. So, dude, yes.
Why did she cancel? Is it somebody told me it's because she's like super big time now?
Yeah, she big timed us.
She did.
I think she's doing Rogan today.
Really?
Yeah, she big timed it. That's the women's world champ, right?
Yeah.
She's doing a whole media tour. Like, yeah.
Yep.
So, dude, Michael Cole.
So wait a minute. Let's get back to Tiffany for a second. What? I saw this go viral. What happened?
With what?
The whole Ludwig Kaiser protecting his girl thing?
Dog. This is the dumbest narrative that, bro, I don't even want to feed it. Michael Hayes is the one who started this.
Of course he is.
Bro, I was just telling Tiffany, like a good peer, like if you ever need advice on how to be a good wrestler or like anything, I know she's the women's champion, but I'm the champion of everything. So I was just like, yo, if you want to learn how to do a good moonsault better, a frog splash, like I can help you. And Michael Cole came up to, or Michael Hayes, sorry, you're Michael Cole.
Long night.
Very long night.
Very long night.
He's like, busted. You were flirting with Tiffany. And I'm like, Michael, I'm just being a friendly guy. And then Ludwig took it wrong and then tried to attack me backstage with a chair because I was flirting with his girl, or so he thought. Like, I'm not here to cause drama, bro. I don't want any problems. I'm here to win.
Yeah. Big time rivalry though developed maybe.
Bro,
you and Kaiser?
There's no rivalry. There's nothing, bro. There's like, these guys are peanuts to me. Let's be honest, you know?
Oh, they're peanuts. That's really gonna go over well with Kaiser.
Bro, it's peanuts to me, bro. I'm wrestling the big matches, bro. The Elimination Chambers, the top 3 of the Rumble. Like you were announcing, top 3 of Royal Rumble.
And you had an incredible move too. Off the ring to the announce table to the barricade to the steps to back in.
Brother.
How did you take to this so quickly?
No, Michael. This is your podcast.
No, but I do have a serious question. I've been wanting to ask you this. I've done this for 28 years now. I've never seen anyone take to the business as quickly as you have. Now, McAfee, who's obviously my partner, Pat's done great in the ring.
He's incredible.
But you just came aboard and like it was awesome. Like how?
Thanks, Michael.
Seriously.
The answer is I think far less exciting than you'd think. I wrestled like the majority of my younger life,
right?
And I did a ton of stunts for YouTube videos.
Okay, yeah, right.
If you like, it kind of made perfect sense that I would end up right where I am. And then you obviously had the talking shit, being the villain, and now it's kind of like everything.
And the athleticism too. Like it's like when you watch him last night, because this has been a couple years brewing now, and there's been so many times where I've like talked about like as an outsider looking in his level of athleticism, but when you see him enter the ring with the caliber of talent that was in that ring last night, it's so palpable the level that he's on. Like, I don't think anyone could actually do it. Like, no, I'm serious. I really, really noticed it when you entered last into the, like, and you have seen all these people, Cena, Punk, and all the, new guys, old guys, everybody. And you're out there walking on this railing, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, dude, I know this kid very well, but is there a chance he falls? There's no chance he falls. He's gonna nail it. He's fully focused. He's fully locked in. What are you gonna say about the wall?
First off, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me.
I think people really see it, dude. Honestly,
can I tell you a quick story before we get into your podcast about that table jump?
Yeah.
Do you know how many people came up to me and didn't think I would make that jump? Bro, I had like 7 producers come up to me and they said, "Are you sure you can make that jump?" I say, "Bro, I'm certain." There's 0% chance I don't make that jump because it was like a 9-foot leap.
You nailed it.
Did you have a backup plan for a miss? No, right?
No, he would have been eliminated. So.
No. Which is good too, because it's like almost like a manifestation of that miss happening. Did you practice the jump?
A couple times.
Actual ring to table?
No.
Just the distance.
Yeah.
Do you think that his skills and his ability to do it there would potentially translate to a traditional, like could you go to the standing long jump and compete in the Olympics?
I did the long jump.
Oh, you did? Of course he did.
Yeah.
What else haven't you done?
No, I'm a jack of all trades, multi-hyphenate.
Oh, you are.
Stop, Michael. This is your podcast.
This is exciting for me,
bro. This is exciting for me. I think what you do is probably the most impactful part of what we do. You are the voice of WWE. You are telling the stories. For anyone tuning in who isn't a fan or in the WWE universe, you're the one connecting the dots and literally painting the picture with your words so people can follow the story. And in my opinion, the WWE storylines are so rich, and that's what sets the universe apart and the organization apart. That's why it's worth multiple billions of dollars, and you're the one painting the canvas for the viewer.
And that's why Netflix wanted us, right? I mean, Netflix understands that we're a storytelling entity first. We're not professional wrestling anymore. We haven't been for many years. We're an entertainment product. And we need stories so our fans can emotionally invest in our characters. Why do they hate Logan Paul? Because he's a cocky prick, right? And
I wasn't aware.
As a character. As a character.
I wasn't aware people hated me. But I feel loved and revered.
Oh yeah, after the entrance last night, the loudest boo of the evening.
His mom said last night. I probed his mom. I queried his mom about this last night at McDonald's. I said
at McDonald's.
Yeah, I said we went there at 4 a.m. I said, Pam, are you aware of the number of people who dislike your son? And she said those people are simply wrong. That's her answer to it. She's like, no. I'm like, there's no world where you could see a criticism, right? She's like, absolutely not. They're simply wrong. I was like, okay,
that's my great mother.
Yeah,
great mom.
She's
great mom, right?
She's amazing.
But no, again, we're an entertainment product, and it's the emotional connection, whether you're a bad guy or a good guy, is one of the reasons we're on Netflix now. I tell people all the time, I've never pretended in 28 years to be a professional wrestling announcer. I'm not.
What are you talking about?
I'm a narrator. I'm a storyteller. I'm a pitchman. I'm a play-by-play announcer.
Okay.
Somewhat. I embellish stories. I create characters. I'm a jack of all trades. And I think that's the one thing that when I first started my career here, one of the reasons the fans hated me, because I wasn't a professional wrestling announcer. But I just think over the years, they've come to respect the work ethic, and they also understand that, to your point, I've been a soundtrack for a couple of different generations now, not only within the business, but also the fans watching at home. And I think that people are beginning to understand now that, yeah, you know what? You don't have to call every single move in a wrestling match. You make sure you call the big spots, the big moments. But it's more important for me to explain to our audience who you guys are. And especially with Netflix, we have so many new viewers that are tuning in now. And I hear all over the country, wherever we travel, people coming up to us and saying, I've never watched WWE before. I never understood what it was. I thought it was a bunch of old men running around in tights. Now they're understanding that it's actually a television show, episodic, each and every week. And so one of my jobs now, which I love, is being able to educate this new audience on who you guys are. Like, who's Logan Paul? You know, who's John Cena? Who's Roman Reigns? Yep. But do that in a way where we're not insulting the old school fans. Who understand all that. Exactly.
You're the Morgan Freeman Shawshank of Shawshank Redemption.
Yes,
that is WWE.
Yes.
You're telling everybody about Andy's life.
Exactly.
And
what it is.
that's partially why I appreciate what you do so much, because I try to speak to the people who are getting absorbed into this universe as well. I'm not always like appealing to the current fans. I'm trying to bring people in and show them why we're special. But you mentioned it, your work ethic. Your work ethic is crazy. 28 years. You've only missed three shows.
3 shows. Yep. 3 television shows that I was assigned to. One was my wife had a kidney transplant back in 2001.
You get a pass?
Yes. The second one, my son.
Were you kind of mad at her for it happening on the time around the show?
So there's an interesting story
like
about
you were,
this.
dude, you couldn't have waited.
There's an interesting story about this though. Her brother-in-law was the one who was going to give the kidney. So
amazing.
Since he was a living donor, we could play around with the schedule. She was actually supposed to receive her kidney transplant and we lived in New Jersey at the time, on September 11th, 2001.
What?
And we were actually in the hospital that morning when everything happened. And they hadn't begun the procedure yet, so they shut everything down because obviously all the hospitals in the New York City area had to become a trauma center, right? So her transplant was put off for 3 weeks, and they rescheduled it for a Monday, which happened to be.
Could you imagine that happening like on a morning where you already have so much anxiety about what's about to happen, and then that happens?
It was we were in, obviously we were in the hospital, we were in the prep room, whatever, and we had no idea what was going on. And the place, the hospital, just it was utter complete panic. People were going. And we were like, what the heck is going on? Not going to have your procedure today. There's been a major accident in New York. And then we, of course, go outside. The TVs are in the lobby. This stuff is going on. And it was surreal.
Okay, so that's crazy.
That's one.
That's fine. You get a pass.
Second one was my son's wedding.
Another pass.
And then the third one was we actually took a family trip last year. For the first time, we were able to get everybody together.
I don't know about that last one.
My kids are older now, and I've got grandkids, so I took a family trip, so I actually got that off. But they were the three I missed.
Okay, how do you maintain the family environment and all the love if you're traveling every single week?
That's why I've been married 30 years. Yeah. I went to Syracuse University, and I started actually in news, in radio. I was a radio news journalist. And then back in the late 80s and the early 90s, radio news was that was the thing. Yeah. If you wanted to be a journalist, that's where you went. I mean, I traveled the world for CBS, and it was so great. But I met my wife at the time. She was a sales person at the station I was working at in Houston. And that's where I met her. So Yolanda's only known me as being a person that is on the road. So we've never had that. We got married, we were together 7 days a week, and then all of a sudden I'm flying around the world. She's never known that. She's always understood me as being a person that travels, and she knows I enjoy it. I also tell people I think I've been married so long and been with her for so long because, and you travel a lot, Logan. When you are home, and those are very precious times and very precious days to be, and you don't want to argue and fight with your wife when you're at home. Because then what are you going to do? You go on the road for 5 days and now you're miserable again. So I think that's one of the reasons. And we have great lives. I get on the road. I get to hang out with my buddies. She's at home. She hangs out with her girlfriends. And then when we're together, it's me and her.
So, I mean, obviously, when we're home, we don't want to fight with our partners.
Exactly.
But, it's inevitable, I feel like.
I mean, sometimes. It depends. Listen, the older you get...
Do you not fight with your...
Not anymore. Not anymore.
How long did that happen for? Just out of curiosity, if someone was in a metaphorical relationship and there was fighting.
Maybe. I think, the first few years, I think in a marriage are always rough. I know my kids have gone through that too. They're both married. But I think as the years move along and you understand that hopefully, not this isn't for everyone, but like she's my best friend. She's my life partner. I knew that the day that I met her. And I think that as you get older, you just don't want to waste valuable time arguing over silly shit. Most arguments are silly, stupid
Is there an age?
shit.
Is there an age gap?
My wife is 4.5 years older than me.
4.5. So it's not that big.
No, not at all.
Because that's funny you say like as you get older. That's why if you date like someone that's younger than you, they sometimes will still want to argue because they're not older.
Right. They're not older. They don't understand that, you know? And the thing with me and Yoli is we had kids at a very young age. We were in our early 20s when we had our children. So we were empty nested by the time we were 40. And that gave us a lot of time together. She could travel on the road with me, go to different shows and stuff. And, you know, she's not a wrestling fan, but she likes to go to the cities. And then now we have grandkids, right? So we have, I've got a little 3-year-old grandson that runs around, which is unbelievable. I love it. But you know, she understands too, like we live in Texas, love San Antonio, got a nice ranch out in West Texas. And we get to spend a lot of time there, which is really cool. But, you know, for us, you know, I had a very long conversation with her. I just signed a brand new contract with the company, so I'm going to be here for a number of years.
Wow, cool.
Balling.
And I mean, but the company really made me feel, you know, really for the first time that I was really important to this place.
What? And after 28 years?
Yeah, after 28 years.
Sometimes.
Why? Because the paycheck?
Oh, the paycheck's part of it, but the new regime had a lot to do with it. But when I went to sign the new deal, I sat down with my wife, and you know, I'm 58 years old now, and I'm like, they want to get me to retirement age, and is this because we had talked about me getting out of this for a long while now, just because of the travel and everything else, and she was like, you got to do it. This is your legacy. Like you're going to be miserable if you don't finish this up the way you want to finish it up. And she was great about it. And so she was 100% on board with it. And so I'm here for a while.
Hey, congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. On that
it.
note, yo.
What
are they doing to my guy, Corey Graves?
That's a strange situation. I love Corey.
Me too.
Love him to death. I still don't understand all the dynamics of it. I know that he sent something out on social media that was pretty critical of the company. You know, he tried to explain to everyone that he was trying to generate some interest in maybe a type of a storyline. I don't think the company saw. I don't think the company saw it that way.
It was not a work,
right? And
it was a shoot.
Yes,
allegedly.
Allegedly, but so and again, I think him and the company are working that out. I love Corey to death. He's an unbelievable commentator. Beside McAfee, he's probably best partner I've ever had.
Dude, you guys are like such a good duo to me. And I personally love Corey as well.
Yep.
He's a great person, but I also think his work is fantastic.
Yeah.
I seriously have like a very special spot in my heart for commentators because like the work you guys do, even just Michael, you're there all day.
Yeah.
All day.
You have to be,
even announcing the pre-show matches.
Well, and look at Logan. Look at the Rumble this weekend. I mean, there was 60 people involved in 2 Rumble matches. Then you had a tag team match and a championship match. I have to be able to put together the numbers and the statistics and the stories of everyone.
Dude, it's insane.
And make it different. And I think one of the things about the old regime, and listen, I will never, ever disparage Vince McMahon. He's got his personal issues and whatnot. But from a professional standpoint, I'll never disparage the man. I would not be here today without Vince. Like
no one would.
He gave me everything. Stuck with me when I was learning to be a wrestling guy. Wasn't a wrestling guy when I came here.
Why do you think he believed in you so much?
I think a lot of it really had to do. I think there were 2 things. You know, Jim Ross obviously was the man. I still think the greatest ever. I think Vince was understood that JR was getting older and he needed to bring in somebody younger. And so I just think because of my background, and I was a good announcer at the time, I just think JR came to the WWE already a wrestling guy. And I think me being new and fresh and not a wrestling guy, Vince was able to mold me how he wanted me to be an announcer.
Interesting.
And he stuck with it. And even when I sucked in the beginning and everything else, and the fans freaking hated me, Vince stuck with me.
That's kind of interesting, though, because Vince is pretty cutthroat.
Yes. That's why I talk to Michael Hayes about this all the time. It's amazing that I've lasted in this company this long because Vince there were certain things that would set that man off, right? And he would just go, he would just like, okay, you're done, fired, see ya.
Yeah.
Like for sometimes for no reason.
Yeah.
But he stuck with me 100% of the time. And so I'll never disparage the man. But Vince was very, very heavy-handed, controlled. It was his company, his sandbox, did whatever you want. So I never was really able to break out and be myself, with the exception of a little bit of a heel run I had, over a decade ago. But when Vince left and Paul came and was in charge, Triple H, he really changed things. And then we brought in Lee Fitting, who came from ESPN.
Yep.
And Lee coming from ESPN, where the talent is the announcer, he came here and said, I don't understand why our guys at the desk aren't, bigger and have bigger personas and are as respected as the people in the ring. And, being old school, I understand that you guys in the ring and the girls in the ring, they're the ones putting their bodies on the line each and every week. And people are buying tickets to see Roman Reigns. They're not buying tickets to see Michael Cole. But as you said earlier, we're a very important part of the product.
Super.
What Lee and Paul have allowed us to do is bring our personalities out. And, you're seeing the real Michael Cole now.
The Michael Cole that crowd surfs.
Exactly. The guy who crowd surfs. We'll talk about that in a second. But you're seeing, I'm a sarcastic prick at times, and I like to have fun. And like Pat called me the other day, I'm the old white dude, right? And he's the young, he's the young punk, right? Well, he's in his late 30s,
young white dude.
Yeah, young white dude.
Yeah, I guess so.
but Pat, like working with him is unbelievable, because Pat, we were talking about this before we got in here today. Pat is Pat. But he doesn't change. He doesn't put on a show or anything.
No.
He's Pat McAfee in everything that he does. So, we hit it off. We had to just hit it off from the beginning. And it's like two guys sitting at a bar and watching wrestling. That's what it is,
That's cool.
Yeah, and
that's such a vibe.
That's what it is. And Pat doesn't try to be a wrestling announcer, and
No.
I think that's what makes him different.
I actually have a note on that at the top you were talking about. With every passing day and second passing at the sands of, I feel the wrenching feeling of existential. This is
What the hell are you doing?
This is for my therapist. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. That was the wrong note. I'm so sorry, Leslie. I will be at the meeting on Tuesday. Pat McAfee described your pants as too tight while you were crowd surfing the other day. Called you a booze bag and a doofus.
Yeah.
Do you have a response? For
Yeah,
that?
he's right on every single take on that. I am a booze bag, just like you guys. I was out last night till 2:30 in the morning.
Come on,
No, but the crowd surfing thing was wild.
I saw that.
This would have never happened. That would have never happened under Vince McMahon.
Really?
Michael Cole yeeting on a table would never happen. Trying to dap up rappers would have never happened under Vince McMahon. But the crowd surfing thing, Cody comes out and he's like, "Okay, we got to do this thing," and I'm like, "Do what? Oh God, here we go. What's gonna happen now?" And then he says, "You're gonna crowd surf." And I'm like, "Crowd surf? You're gonna be kidding me!" So then he goes, "It's easy. Look at," and we look down. It's a 6-foot drop. And I'm not jumping down there. I'm 50 years old. I'll kill myself. So I actually fall on my ass, look like a dummy. And then I get into the crowd and I'm doing the whole thing and I'm getting my junk grabbed and people are sticking
they're grabbing your cheeks.
Good thing I moved my wallet to my sport jacket. Yep. But I'd never done it before in my life.
But you did. Now you did it.
Yes. But even as a kid, I'd never done it. Right?
That was your first crowd surf?
So I find out afterward, Cody's explaining to me, well, I should have told you how to do this. You got to keep your legs closed. You got to be rigid. And I was flip-flopping all over the place like Gumby.
Well, you probably trusted the fact that there's a bunch of dudes in the audience. They weren't going to be grabbing.
Yeah, but if some of those people don't like me, right? So, but that was wild. That was the first time I'd done. But again, I would have never, the whole social media thing, I'm finally starting to understand it now. I appreciate so much what you've accomplished and what Pat's accomplished and all these guys. I show Speed, of course, who's in the Rumble. I never understood any of that stuff, but I am beginning to understand it now. And now I find myself, actually going to X and going to Instagram and being entertained and understanding that this is the way of the world now.
Damn.
And also understand, and McAfee was very important in helping me understand all this stuff. But now, doing silly shit, I don't tweet much, but me and Pat will get together on a Monday and put out a controversial tweet or something, and then I just like to sit there and watch all the responses to it or whatever. But just seeing
sounds like us, man.
Just seeing how exciting it is, though. Getting on a table last night with Wade and Pat and just yeeting and getting in the ring and yeeting with Jay and looking like a bird flopping my wings, but then going on looking at social media and just saying, "Oh my God, this is pretty cool. People actually like this," or they hate it, but it doesn't matter. Right? People are talking about it, and to me, that's really cool. But again, I'm having the most fun I've ever had in my career here.
Amazing.
We can tell. We can tell, bro. You're like lighting up talking about this stuff. And it's so cool that you have this new contract, and it sounds like it's probably going to be the most exciting, like most you part of your career, which is sick.
Netflix was also a big part of this. I really, the cool thing, I've been able to be a part of a lot of changes in our company over the years. First time we did network TV on UPN, I was there. Spike TV back in the day, of course, USA Network. I was the guy on Fox, which was really important to me because I really wanted to be able to call a network television show. And then the Netflix thing was like, I have to be a part of that. Like that was, you know, what a game changer for everything.
Super cool.
Yeah,
super cool. It's like it's the new forefront of, like, you know, live TV meets a streaming network, and we're at the front of it.
Yep.
I wanted to ask, because you were talking about the chemistry that you and Pat have. How important is it to have chemistry with the person that you're commentating with?
Have to. You cannot do your job. I've been blessed with being able to get along with most of my broadcast partners over the years, and I've worked with so many of them.
Yeah.
I've always gotten along with everyone. They've respected my work. I understand their work. But with Pat, it's different. Pat and I are really good friends. So Pat was he's always a wrestling fan.
Yep.
His whole life. He came to one of our house shows in Indiana a number of years ago.
Yep.
And we just started talking. And he's like, I'd like to try this. And I'm like, well, what? You know, he was at Barstool at the time.
Yep.
And we're like, why don't you come in and start doing some stuff with NXT? And he came in and he started doing the countdown shows and all that. And me and him got really, really close. And then our relationship imploded for a night because at WrestleMania a number of years ago, I'm no longer in charge of the announcers. I used to not only be an announcer, but I was in charge of all the announcers. So I was a VP in the company doing all that. And so we brought Pat in to do the WrestleMania kickoff show. And, you know, everybody at WrestleMania is tuxes and ties and the whole 9 yards. And Pat shows up in shorts. Yeah. Now, they were tuxedo shorts, but he shows up in shorts. So now we're about to go on the air live. It's all this pressure. I see Pat walk into the Gorilla with these shorts on. And I'm like, in front of everybody, which is my bad. What the fuck are you doing? Dude, man, you're in fucking shorts. It's WrestleMania. Oh, Stephanie McMahon's there. Vince is there. All these people are there. I'm dressing down Pat.
You little bro'd him.
I did. And in heat of the moment, I didn't think about it. Then he stormed off. And I'm like, where the fuck are you going? I'm not doing the show. He goes back. He's packing his bag in the locker room to leave. He goes, you just embarrassed me in front of everybody in this company. Bro. I'm like, and I never thought of it that way. But he was right. Now,
what do you mean? He just called out him wearing shorts.
Yeah, but
that's more of a result of the fact that you had like this hybrid talent management and co-host
that sucked.
role.
It did. It sucked.
And that's why you had to get rid of that.
Exactly.
Ironically, I've worked in that situation before too when I was doing shit with Maverick, and you would tell me to go fucking scold people.
It's hard because these guys are your peers, right? And you're working on the air with them. Then you're also managing them. Thank God I got out of that. But then Pat, he's going to pack his bags and leave, and we ended up working it out. We showed Vince the shorts, and Vince was, of course, Vince. It was great. Why are you yelling at him? Because he just likes to stir the shit, right? So it's wild, man. And ever since then, I think that brought us closer together, and we've been best friends since.
That's so cool.
I'm doing a show this week, before we go up to Raw, and it's cool. But it comes out on air, like. You can tell, like, you guys are buds, right? And it's just this great chemistry that you all have. Pat and I are friends. We talk all the time.
Yeah.
And it just comes out.
Is there, so when I first started like really paying attention to the dynamics that were happening in the ring and in the commentary table, it seemed like there was like a heel announcer and a babyface announcer.
That was always the formula.
With you and Pat, is that
so
existent?
This is by design. We have two completely separate sounding announce teams now for the first time in a very long time. Everybody, once Vince molded Michael Cole over the years, every person we brought into this company since then, Vince wanted to be Michael Cole. And that is why a lot of these guys who are great broadcasters were never successful.
Okay.
Because they couldn't be me, and Vince wanted them to be me. What Lee Fitting and Paul have done now, and Nick Khan, is we've developed two completely different announce teams now. So now on Fridays you have Joe Tessitore, who's a pro.
Yeah, he's great.
Unbelievable. But he's not me. He's completely different than me. He's more of a professional broadcaster. And he doesn't jump up and down and act like an idiot sometimes and scream and yell like I scream. I'm a screamer been that way for 28 years. Nobody ever changed me. Joe's more relaxed. And then he's got Wade Barrett, who's great, and Wade's a heel, right?
Yep.
Pat and I are different. They wanted us to be different. Like I said before, we're just two guys sitting on a couch drinking a beer watching the show.
That's what it sounds like.
And I don't think, the heel dynamic's fun, right? But I think our fans are so sophisticated now. This isn't your.
Are you sure about that?
Yes, very much so.
Just because sometimes I walk, and like when I'm walking down the aisle and I'm looking out, and sophistication is the last word that comes to mind.
I really
see these people. Like, trust me, Michael. I look them in the eyes, and like sometimes I'm like, whoa, there's nothing going on.
Well, he's doing his heel thing.
Yeah, of course.
No, I'm serious.
No, but there are those like that. But I mean, our audience is so different now than it was.
It's harder for us. It's harder for us to do it because we're not the heel. So he's like, shit. What do I do here?
I don't want to bury the audience, but yeah, when I was a heel, I loved to bury the audience. But no, I really do think though, Logan, seriously, that our audience is a lot more sophisticated now than they were before. We don't have to shove things down their throats now. They get it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I don't have to. Explain every single thing of everything. Oh my God, I think he's a bad guy now. No, let the fans figure that out.
So I wanted to ask about that. This is the thing I'm most curious about. How much of the storytelling are you keyed in ahead of time or calling on the spot because you're following it and kind of crafting it yourself? Like are producers in your ear telling you like little spots to look out for? Like what's the actual art of crafting the things that you're saying?
So no one's in my ear anymore. Vince was a lot, but again, it was his world.
What would he say?
Hey, what the fuck was that, man? He would say anything like, give me great advice or call me a fucking moron or seriously. I mean, it just whatever mood he was in and whatever I did. Most of it was constructive criticism. It really was. I mean, there were days where Vince would just be Vince, but I think this whole Vince screamed at Michael Cole for 25 years thing is way overblown. I mean, there are moments, but it's going to happen in a relationship for that long.
Yeah.
But to your point, first off, Pat McAfee knows nothing. Pat doesn't want to know anything. He doesn't want to know anything that's going on in the show. He wants to go out there and just be him and
intentionally.
He's like you in our Pokemon box breaks.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah. A lot of this, the question asking that's coming out of him right now, and would be for me as well, is like, we can relate to this.
Yeah.
Like someone's level of preparation, a lot of times, like depending on the episode, he'll come super prepared. I'll purposely, intentionally not even look at the PDF.
Yep.
I want to come into this the same way the audience is. I want to figure this person out as I sit there. That's why like this whole conversation is super interesting to us.
And that's Pat doesn't want to know anything, which makes him Pat.
Yeah.
I need to be prepared because I don't know every single step of every single thing that's going to happen, but I need to understand storylines. I need to understand where we're going to go with certain characters so I can sort of lead the audience in that direction because I am the narrator, right? So you want to make sure that you're leading the audience a certain way.
You're the baseline, and you're going to keep that DNA and that through line of the story going, and Pat is the action points.
Yep, exactly. And then, like, for instance, at the Rumble, I'll sit at ringside all day, like Logan said, and the guys and girls will come up and talk to me. And like Gargano and Ciampa, the tag champs, DIY, came up to me and they explained their whole outlay of their match because there were some certain little things that I had to know about to be able to bring forward in the story and explain why these things were happening. And also at the end, Street Profits got involved and people were like, why are they getting involved? So I needed to have that knowledge to explain to the audience why this is happening.
That's what I'm talking about.
So those are the things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we've done stuff like that before with you. Even the right hand, the titanium rod, and you've reinforced
the brass knuckles.
I
remember talking to you before the Roman match because that was biggest match of your career to that point.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to you guys about that match and just little storyline things that I had to get in to help you. So it was, I mean, that stuff's really, really important because, again, our job, first and foremost, is to enhance our talent. And the better our talent get from a story standpoint and the more emotionally invested our fans get in our talent, obviously we sell more tickets and more people watch the show.
Yep.
So,
okay, when you made the jump from radio to WWE, like, and you weren't a massive wrestling fan?
No. I was as a kid, but
same.
Yeah.
How and why?
So it's sort of a long story, but I need it to explain how this happened. So I was in radio news in Texas, traveling all the time, much more than I do now. And we were young and into our marriage, and my I got transferred to New York to work for CBS in New York. And they promised me that you're just going to work out of the city. So I'll be home all the time. And well, I got there and I ended up in 96 going out and covering I had covered Bill Clinton's campaign in 92. 96, I had covered Bob Dole's campaign. And
what a joke. Well, I want to talk about this after the presidential side.
I was out that entire year, 96.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, what the hell are you doing? First off, you moved my ass from Texas to New York. And now you're not even home.
Just on the campaign trail.
So Todd Pettengill, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar. Todd Pettengill used to work in our company, but he was a huge radio DJ in New York at WPLJ, which was a powerhouse in the time in the 90s. And I had worked with Todd for a while in radio. He was working here, and he was going to leave the company. He said, hey, come in for an audition. So I came in and did an audition and didn't hear for a few months. But then they said, you want to come work here? So I figured, listen, I'm in radio now. I have no television experience. Let me go try this job for a couple of years, get some TV experience, get a tape under my belt, and I'll leave and go back and work at CNN or somewhere. Yeah. Well, 28 years later, I'm still here. So it just turned into a love, just this whole business.
But by this point, you know the moves. You're very.
I don't even call them half the time though. It's just you don't have to.
Yeah.
You know, it's just you don't. It's the drama. You know, sometimes you talk to hardcore fans and they get all hung up on, oh, he didn't call out a Canadian destroyer. He didn't know the name of the move. Who gives a shit? Yeah. Seriously, it's the story. That's what people care about.
Do you know why I relate to this? It feels like Karate Combat.
Really?
100%. So I commentate a really up and coming karate pit-based karate league, and like. Walking into this and being brought on because of energy and bravado and comedy because they want it, and social media, pull as well, to sit there next to GSP and Boss Rutan and talk about insane, like legends of the game, right? And to talk about, jujitsu and grappling and all this stuff. And I'm sitting there like, were there moments where you were like, I can't do this? Like,
dude, I didn't know. So the funny thing about it is when I started in this company in 97, WCW starts kicking our ass.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the screw job happens in Montreal with Bret Hart and Vince and Shawn Michaels. And I go home and my wife's like, what are you doing? Your company is about, you just left.
What are you doing with your life?
You just left a lucrative job at CBS to go to this circus. You've been here 6 months and now all of a sudden the company's going to go out of business because we thought we were going to go out of business.
Yeah.
It was wild. What saved me in this business in the beginning was, when I first started, our producer at the time, Kevin Dunn, said, you know nothing about wrestling, but we think you're a good broadcaster. You need to learn the business. So they sent me out on the road every single weekend to our live events, which we were running every weekend at the time. And I rode with JBL, John Bradshaw Layfield, the old cowboy who, one of my really good friends, he taught me the business in the car. My job was to make sure that there was beer and whiskey in the car after every show so I could drive them to the next town. But that's how I learned, right? And I spent a year with these guys. And excuse me, that's how I learned the business. And then, of course, with Michael Hayes and Paul Heyman and guys like that. But there were times where I was like, I made a huge mistake here. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then Jim Ross ended up getting sick in 1998, and they threw me out there for 4 or 5 months on the main shows. And I really was, I was green. I was like, this is wild. Like, I better start looking for another job. Like,
whoa.
Yeah.
And you're also at the same time, like, who were you commentating with or announcing with at the time?
Jerry the King Lawler at that time.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're
who I actually beat at WrestleMania.
Yeah. but you're going out there and it's like, not only are you trying to announce for the first big shows yourself, but you have to learn the synergy like this immediately. And that's one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole thing took, at least 60, 70 episodes to get to a point where it was like a semi-honed, and now it's a product, right? Yep. But like, that must have been very hard to do in real time on main broadcast.
And especially when it comes to wrestling, because as you know, our fans are the hardest, they're the most loyal. They're also the hardest fans in the world. Judgmental. Yeah. I mean, it was hard. And, thank God, I always tell people this, thank God that back in the late 90s, there was no social media. Because I don't know if I'd be here today if there was social media.
What do you mean by that?
Well, just the way that, everyone has a voice. And, I know at the time, 99% of the world would have hated Michael Cole, and I probably wouldn't have made it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was a wild time.
Well, do you feel like that? Because one thing I've noticed, you know, having been around the business a little bit with him is the hatred is an equal value currency as love in this org, right? And so it's like it's an attention, a currency of attention. And so even if they were all day, we fucking hate this. Does it change when it comes to the commentary crew?
There's two types of heat. There's the heat you're talking about, which is the Logan Paul heat, when he walks out and people boo him.
Yeah.
And it's not because they hate Logan, it's just because he plays this character that people don't like.
It's not a character.
Well, I know. Well, I was trying to be nice. But but then there is what they call go away heat.
Oh, they consider a bad product.
Yes,
almost.
they just consider it's a bad character, it's a bad product, it's a bad person on the air. We had some announcers recently that just didn't work out because, and you could go online and, you know, 99% of the people hated him. And you know at that point, like you feel inside yourself like this guy's not going to make it. And then when you realize and you listen to some of that, you know he's not going to make it, you know?
Yeah. I think I have go away heat.
You think so?
The only reason why it works is because I'm a great wrestler.
You are.
I'm not.
No, but
I'm
yeah,
not, like
that's why you don't have go. That's what he's saying is
not like certainly there's a handful of the audience that is genuinely like, get this guy out of here
because they're jealous.
Yeah, that's different. You
no, they are seriously. Yeah. They're jealous of you. I get that a lot too.
That's what Pam said.
I know that's why I was like, my mom said the same.
But Logan, they're jealous of you. I mean, look what you've accomplished since you've come to WWE. Not only here, I mean, look what you accomplished in your life. But I mean, it's the same thing for us. Like people sitting at home watching a show. Well, oh my God, Michael Cole sucks. He didn't know the name of that move or this or that. I would. First off, they're mad because they don't have my job. Second off, put them in that chair. Sit in that chair.
No, dude, your job is fucking crazy, Michael. I'm not kidding.
But people don't get it.
I know. I get it, which is why I have so much respect for you and the commentating team. I would rather do what I do than have to do what you do. Dude, how do you talk so much and not get tired?
I'm surprised I have a voice today because I blew it last night. You know, I get tired. Don't get me, especially as I get older, you know, and I really have to take care of myself now. I eat right. I still like my whiskey, but work out. And seriously, at my age, you know, my wife's always like, why are you going to the gym again? I go every day because it's not because I want to, obviously you got to look halfway decent when you're on television, right? Yeah. But as you get older, you know, your body starts to break down.
Yeah.
And this job is very taxing, both mentally and physically. And people don't understand the physical things of it. You know, 3.5 hours jumping up and down, screaming, yelling, you know, it's hard. So you got to try to stay in shape for that. Which, as I get older, I realize I need to do that. But our vocal cords.
It's because you're thinking about it. It's because you're thinking about it.
Our vocal cords are muscles, and just like anything else, I utilize those muscles at a very high level every week.
Oh, I get it.
And it has now these muscles are in they're in shape now, right? And so it's funny seeing broadcasters come into our business for the first time from other realms and try to do what we do. Yeah. It takes them a long time. Yeah. I remember one of our announcers, Kevin Egan, he works with MLS now, but he had a terrible time, like with his voice, like his first few months here, he could not. He wasn't in shape to do this.
Dude, not even just the amount of talking. You have to be on. That's like I could probably do this podcast audio and have like we've done 3 in a row, maybe some days like 4 in a row, and it's all right. But live TV having to be on is like that's the real drain for me.
There's no net, right? It is live, and you got and especially in this day and age, you got to be very, very careful what you say. Obviously, you know, especially on you know, even with Netflix. Like we thought we were going to be able to get away with a few other things, but Netflix is very strict with that too.
I heard this.
Yeah,
yes,
and
people told me they're actually a little more.
So guys like us that are talking live, especially working with Pat, who's got he's got no buffer. He's just Pat. You got to be really careful sometimes what you say, especially, and that's another reason. And Pat keeps me young too. I've got to keep up to date with the phrases the kids use today and stuff like that, and make sure
to make sure you have the right aura.
Well, yeah, also make sure that I'm not saying stuff that
is an LT.
Has like changed into a different. And also one thing I've noticed too, and maybe you noticed it, is like for some of the longer stuff, like some of these events that I do with Karate Combat are like 6-7 hours long.
Right.
By hour 4 or 5. that barrier of like, should I say this or not say this, starts to kind of like melt away a little bit.
Headache,
bro, you're starting to become mush.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden things are coming out of your mouth. You're like, wait a second, did I say that? Am I here? What's like, what's going on?
And the problem with our stuff, to your point, Logan, too, is it's not just being on because it's live television. Every single match and character have to be given the same respect and gravity.
Yeah.
So I can't treat Logan Paul any differently than I treat Ludwig Kaiser, or I can't treat Roman Reigns. So like at the Rumble, I've got to be high energy for every woman's entrance for 30. And then obviously as you get close to the finish and the big moves and putting everybody over, then you've got to be able to treat the tag team match with a new group, Motor City Machine Guns, at the same level you would treat the women at, because you don't want to feel like you're disrespecting them. Then you go into the Cody match, which is just an intense ladder match, right? That's a championship match, so you got to be up here. And then of course the Rumble, men's Rumble, which is the biggest event of the year, last.
So you're like saving up energy.
Well, it's hard because you got to keep that energy level the whole way. And then now you got 30 men entering. And last night, you were in there. That last 6 in that match, I had goosebumps. It was
insane.
You had Hall of Famers in there. Did you think about that at all?
Yeah, I'm getting goosebumps now.
It was. I mean, you're in there with guys: John Cena, Seth Rollins,
Punk,
Roman Reigns, Jey Uso.
No, that was insane.
Insane.
I looked around. I was looking at these guys, and I was just like, damn. I'm right at home.
Right. No, I know, but you felt it.
I was like,
but you know damn well deep down inside you were going, how the hell am I even here?
Not at all. Not at all. I was like, I honestly was like, how the hell is CM Punk still here? But I was the original Yeet, by the way.
You were?
Yeah, that is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
When did this happen?
Yeah, years ago.
Years ago.
Oh man.
In fact, I thought we had put that in a bulletproof coffin.
So
I thought that was dumb.
So
too.
did Jay steal it from you?
Yes, and I'm sending him a cease and desist. I'm actually sending him a cease and desist.
Oh my God.
Not a work. He will be getting a cease and desist, and I'm collecting everything. Everything.
Well, now he's the main eventer, so.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's talk about the other commentators in big sports, even under the TKO umbrella, the UFC.
Yeah.
When you look at guys like Joe Rogan, John Anik, even Daniel Cormier, Bruce Buffer.
Yeah.
It's funny. He came on this podcast and he was saying the same thing about how he works out and he's got to stay in shape because Bruce goes hard.
Yeah.
When you look at guys like this, do you kind of see eye to eye, and is it like a respect that only like a commentator can understand?
There is a respect, and one of the things that was really cool is when Joe Tessitore came aboard. Joe's a boxing guy, right? Yeah. And I've learned a lot from Joe about combat sports. And when Joe came aboard, to me, a lot of people loved the hire, a lot of people didn't like the hire, but to me, I loved it because I felt like it finally legitimized what I've done for 28 years. We brought a real, true life, legendary commentator who's called Monday Night Football and college football and everything else. He wanted to work here.
Yeah.
He came to us to work here, and we brought him aboard, and that to me legitimized everything I did.
So cool.
And I think there is that. I love Joe Rogan. I mean, his stuff is. He's a screamer and yeller emotionally. He's like me, right?
Yeah.
I just think across the board, we commentators are this fraternity because for so many years we didn't get the respect I think that we deserved. But now in this new era, not only in wrestling but just in life and in the world, we're finally getting respect and we're becoming personalities.
Dude, I think social media is part of the reason for that. You know what I'm saying? Like you can build your personal brand and dude, you have an entrance now.
Yeah.
It's usually
And people actually cheer.
Yeah, they cheer. They always cheer before the show starts or there's little like pre-shows. We did one at the HQ, man. They love you because you're building your personal brand and then you just get to people just get to listen to you. You're doing podcasts back to back every week.
And I think too, Logan, the thing about that is the big thing for me is I'm finally myself. Like I think people looked at me as a corporate stooge, right, for Vince McMahon for so many years, and I really was a Vince puppet. I'll admit that, and I would never ever trade that for anything because I learned so much under the man from a professional standpoint. But I think in the last few years since Pat came aboard, I've just decided, fuck it, I'm myself. I'm going to be Sean Coulthard, my real name, right? I'm gonna be that. I'm gonna be the person that my friends know, the people that when I go have a drink at a bar, the guy who's sarcastic and laughs and has fun and loves this business, because I really do. Everything that's given to me in my life, but it's fun, right?
I wasn't aware of how like down to earth you were.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, and
Why,
and also,
am I usually a prick?
We never really know what to think of, you know.
no, I don't know. I
So-
mean, bro, like you literally are like the voice of the WWE
For generations.
for
which-
28 years,
yeah.
and so like I don't fucking know. You, in my opinion, you have every right to be like, fuck off.
dude,
But that's not
I'm-
people's default. Always.
No, I just
I don't
listen.
know.
I'm
we live in Hollywood. Or we used
Yeah,
to live in Hollywood.
but I
man.
don't-
I still do.
the,
We meet some shitty people.
Yeah.
But the majority of people are usually
They're
pretty
they're,
good.
they're getting better because
Yeah.
they have
They
to.
have to,
But
'cause
then
of-
you have the like, and I'll just say it.
Oh, I hope is somebody getting called out?
I mean, I don't know, bro. This whole like Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds situation.
Oh my God.
feels
Are
like
you filled in on it? Do you know the
yeah,
whole?
and they just seem so fucking out of touch.
Right.
With, like they're just not living in reality, and like people lose themselves in their own truth.
it happens in our business.
Yeah,
You see it?
yeah.
You know, people think they come into their stars and then they're going to leave and be a star outside of here. It doesn't
Yeah,
happen. Sorry.
no.
You know, our product makes you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
100. Dude,
You
come
know,
on.
I mean, there's very few Logan Pauls that come into our world and are successful. Most people get successful here. They think they can leave. Who's
Well,
done
this
it?
is what-
Cena, Batista, and Rock.
Yeah.
Rock, yeah. This is one of the biggest. This is possibly the biggest example of it. Like it is. Like think about it. When you talk to people outside of the WWE sphere about what happened at Rumble last year and Speed came out, what the fuck are you talking about,
Dude,
man? What are you talking about? Did you hear about the tariffs? What are you saying right now?
90% of the world don't even know what
Yeah,
wrestling
yeah.
is.
But that 10%,
Yeah.
that are
Die hard.
there's nothing like it.
So I think my wife is the main reason that I am the way I am. She's not a wrestling fan, doesn't watch a product. I go home and the last thing I talk about is WWE.
Really.
Never.
Keeps you grounded.
She was more excited when I told her this morning I was going to do Logan Paul's podcast
Hell
than she
yeah.
was about anything else.
Hell yeah.
And I'm doing Pat McAfee show tomorrow, and she was more excited about me doing that than anything else.
Yeah.
So
but more excited about the impulsive.
obviously.
more
And then
excited,
Pat.
100%.
Yep, got it,
But
got it.
but she keeps me grounded. She really does. I go home and I'm with her. But listen, I'm a dude. I was brought up in upstate New York, and I'm in Texas now. I got a ranch, and I'm an old redneck. Like
Hell yeah.
I dip tobacco.
Hell
I
yeah.
drink beer, and I like my whiskey. And last night, that's why I always stay away from downtown in these cities. Like I don't want that scene. Like me and Wade Barrett went up to the bar last night.
Yeah,
at
what'd
the
you guys do?
hotel. We sat at the bar till 2:30 in the morning.
Just talk
and
shit?
just talk shit. And didn't even talk about wrestling. Like just talked about life, right?
way.
And it was great. It was that's me. That's what I want. I'm gonna leave here today and go sit in my hotel room the rest of the day, right? So
Well, I don't know about that last part there. What
what
are you gonna sit there?
well, I'm chilling today because we're going up to Cleveland tomorrow.
but what will you do in the room?
I'll watch. I'm back into the Sopranos now, so
You
I'm watching
rerunning this?
Yeah, I'm
Did you?
rerunning
You've already
Sopranos.
watched it all.
Oh yeah, watch. This is the third
Great-
time I've actually
greatest
read through
series
it.
of all time, yes or
Greatest
no?
series of all time.
Nothing touching
The
it.
Wire is close too.
I love The Wire.
But Sopranos is nothing now, and I love going back now because even 25 years later, it's still timeless.
I'm rewatching season 2 of it right now, which by the way is potentially the best season.
I'm a season three guy.
You really, I have
You've
to
never seen
urge
it?
you. He's a little bit younger.
Dude.
I'm gonna give him a
Look,
pass on it.
he's been telling me for our entire relationship.
It's the
There
greatest.
has never
Yeah.
been a bad episode. My favorite episode is Pine Barrens. When,
Of course. Well, that's
Paulie
the
and
most
Chrissy,
famous
yeah,
episode.
Yeah.
They saying he was an interior decorator.
It's so
Bro,
great.
it's the
just-
greatest series.
oh.
Maybe the problem for a lot of watchers, new viewers on it, is you do have to invest a little bit in season 1.
You have
I
to.
think they're piloting. They're trying to get people excited about the show. They're trying new things. Like what was they had a character in episode 1 that went into the
Yeah.
store when Christopher was
Yeah.
ordering the food, comes back as a completely different
Different
character. Who was that?
yeah.
I can't remember.
I
who
can't
it was
remember.
now, yeah.
But how can you not get hooked though with Chrissy and Tony driving the car through the plaza and running a guy over and beating the shit out of him? Remember? How do you not hooked on
Literally,
that?
Logan,
you got to
have
watch.
to do it.
You have to.
He feels out. He feels out. And he's,
No, I'm more interested in like Beast Games,
Yeah.
or like Severance.
God dang it.
Severance
Well,
is
bro,
great
those are
too,
great
by the way.
programs.
Have you started the second? Have you started?
No, I'm so
So
excited.
we're one episode in the second season. Holy shit!
I heard it's even more rich and potentially better than season 1.
Season 1, I didn't know if I was going to make it through it initially.
Yeah.
Like the first few episodes, same thing with Sopranos. Like I was like, I don't know about this. And then, oh my God.
Dude, it is the only show where the last episode of season 1, I felt like this perfect mix of like fully fulfilled in terms of the questions I wanted answered and all the plot like holes I needed to fill, but also I need more.
Yes,
what is happening?
Where it ends, it's like, oh my God.
Oh my
Wait to see how season 2 starts.
They waited a while
3
between
years.
seasons.
Yeah.
Because it was that like
Ben Stiller directed it.
Yeah. As far as like shows now, like it's comparatively to what HBO was doing on Sunday nights, 15 whatever it was years ago. It's that, and then have you guys been watching Succession?
Yes,
you watch
Succession.
From what I understand, is equal,
awesome,
like equally
unbelievable.
Good.
There's and then I just finished American Primeval on Netflix.
Oh yeah. How's that?
Well. Violent as shit.
Really,
like, really, really good. Peter Berg's just awesome.
I'm watching. Maybe you guys haven't seen this, but I'm watching Fallout, which is based on the video game Fallout.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. I haven't seen it.
Did better than it.
Oh, were they around the same time?
Yeah.
Different products.
Yeah, I know, but it's still just like, I don't know. I'm proud of my boy Jimmy. Have you watched Peace Games?
No, not at all.
Give it a shot.
Okay,
that show is
well,
fucking sick.
I gotta tell my wife. She's my wife's the one who makes me sit down and watch this stuff. I'm antsy. Like she's B, I'm A personality.
Yeah,
so I'm always like I'm up 5 a.m. with the dogs running around. But
do you feel? How do you feel about that opposite situation? I mean, it works for you.
Oh my God, greatest thing ever.
Yeah.
What I've had to learn though, as I've grown through my marriage, is because I'm intense. And I think
it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with.
I think it's why I'm good at my job too, right? But I think, and she's so laid back, and she's retired now, so she's just like, I'm gonna sleep till 10 o'clock, and I'm up at 5 with the dogs, the gym. I've learned to temper my intensity, and that's just helped. Like I'm I'm like an OCD guy. Like I have my calendar, right, and I got to go through my calendar and make sure that everything is checked off every day.
You should get the big ass calendar. Do you have
really?
it?
No, I don't.
There's a big ass calendar.
There is.
It's huge. It's a big ass calendar. Our boy Jesse Itzler made it, and everyone has one. You should get one.
Get it online.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll just get. We can probably just have him
snap out your whole
address.
year.
We'll send it to you.
So like, and my
you
wife
can use Logan 20 for 20% off.
Okay.
I got
Is
you,
that
Jesse.
actually true?
I got you, Jesse. Yes,
Did he give you a code?
But I won't I go through the calendar. She thinks I'm crazy. Like she's like, she won't even look at her calendar. Whatever. Just tell me what I got to do. But no, I mean that's why it works.
Do you think you could commentate for the UFC if the roles were reversed?
I don't know because I don't. Could I do it? Yes.
Yeah.
Could I be good at it? I'm not sure.
Why?
It's not storyline driven. It's not episodic television. The finishes aren't predetermined. It's a fight, right? And you've got to know all that stuff. I think my job is much more difficult only because I have to weave in the stories and the character development. I'm not just calling a fight.
It's creative.
Right?
Not
I would agree.
Yeah,
I would totally agree.
The real aspect of it is, better than anybody, is what the misconception of people thinking that, okay, it's rigged. It's rigged's the wrong word. It's scripted. The finish we know, and they go through what they're going to do in the match. People misconstrue that to not think it's physical. You athletes are the most listen. I had a little run back when I was a heel where I actually got in the ring. Terrible what I did, but I took bumps. Right?
Couldn't have been worse than mine,
dude. Watch WrestleMania in 2011 when I had my match with Jerry.
Did you? I was in there. I did horrible. I took a kick.
Terrible. Worst match ever. But I got my tooth knocked out. Two teeth knocked out.
Oh, actually?
Like that. Yeah. CM Punk during the day as I was going over my match with Jerry because he's a friend of mine. He just decided to run across the ring and give me a knee lift. Well, dummy me didn't move out of the way, knocked my tooth out. Then in the match, Jerry hit me with a drop kick that knocked my other tooth out. So I understand how difficult, but and that's just taking some simple bumps. Like I don't know how people that think look at what Kevin Owens did last night,
dude.
He
came out of Gorilla. Dude. I don't even know if he was fully conscious, dude. This big, bleeding on 4 sides of his. I'm looking at Kevin. I go. My only thought was, way to go, Cody. Fuck this guy.
He
fuck
picked
him
the
up.
guy up. He threw him through a table.
That was
and
insane.
the guy turned inside. It was.
Everybody's telling me they're like those are blood packets, right? Surely I'm like,
no,
I don't think so, man.
And then JD McDonagh on Raw last week.
Oh no!
I thought he was dead. I really did.
Michael, tell me about that.
He came off that ring and he hit the desk so hard it moved our desk back. I seriously thought he was dead. And then come to find out later, he had a punctured. Didn't he really hit his head? He had broken ribs and a punctured lung. And he went on and finished the match another 10 minutes.
Insane.
So this is the craziest part about wrestling.
Because didn't that happen to you? You got
Yes.
hurt in the match,
Yes.
right?
I pulled my MCL mid-match. And
That was on the lariat, right?
No.
Okay.
This was in my third match against Roman.
Right.
And
I remember it.
Like I'm in the main event. I got to show up.
Right.
Also, like I got Roman Reigns across me. God damn.
It wasn't even one of the big moves.
No. He was on some stupid shit.
Oh, okay.
I'm much more focused on my mechanics now than I have been before, and also I'm gonna protect myself more because like sometimes like guys are stiff. They're not really looking out for
Sheamus.
you. I haven't wrestled with him yet.
Oh, good
really?
luck.
Oh my god.
Good luck.
Nah. So I'm gonna protect myself a little more. But if you're actually injured, you gotta not sell that you're injured unless it's part of the story. And then if you are injured, you should sell if you got hit in a certain like you have to do the opposite of what's true. And for a guy like JD, who broke his ribs and punctured his lung, you're looking at 10 more minutes of match in your head. And you're
And
like,
he did it. How tough is that guy?
How the fuck am I gonna do this?
Right.
It's got to be mostly adrenaline at that point.
Well, you look at other sports, a guy, what'd you do? What'd you say you did with the injury?
I tore my MCL.
Okay. So when a guy does that in the football field, he's out of the game. He's
Out of the
gone.
game.
Goodbye.
Out of the game.
You guys have some sort of sick pride that you want to finish these matches when you get hurt.
Sadomasochistic.
It's crazy.
It's not. It's
mad respect.
Yeah.
But
I'll go ahead and speak for my guess is the majority of the roster. It's not so much like pride, and I mean, yes, it is. Maybe like 25% of it, but dude, we're dedicated to the product. We're dedicated to the product. Like,
isn't that amazing,
dude? You can't let this company down. You cannot let this.
But
company
you're
down.
also.
I feel that like fully, and I've been here 3 years. I will not fail on behalf of the WWE.
Well, that and also for yourself. And I think that's why you're successful. And I think that's why the top level guys and girls in our company are successful. Because yes, they won't fail for the WWE, but they also won't fail for themselves.
Yeah, true. Yes.
I feel like, listen, I'm not, and I bet you feel the same way I do. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I have failed at very few things in my life.
Well, it must be nice.
Which is why I've gotten to where I am today. No, I really, and I'm not trying to be an asshole about it or have an ego about it, but I've been very successful in everything I've done from college through my news career to here. Now, yeah, I've made mistakes. There's been failures along the way, but for the most part, I've been pretty successful because I've got this unbelievable work ethic like you do. Look at the stuff you all do. And that's what drives me. Like you were talking about this earlier, 28 years, I could be resting on my laurels. I could have retired. I couldn't have signed a new contract if I didn't want to. But every day I feel like, okay, I thought I had a great Rumble. I got to have a good Raw on Monday.
Yeah.
And I got to have a great Raw the next week because if I don't have a good show, it hurts you guys. It hurts the boys and girls that are in the ring because you guys are drawing money and you guys are trying to establish a product. I have got to be on every single time that I am on.
See, I love that org related sentiment, and it's something that in our world we don't feel. We're own bosses,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, until WWE, it was the same for him. It's like, dude, if I want to do this, I'm going to do this. If I want to take a risk in this direction and it fucking fails, who cares? Like, it doesn't. I haven't felt that mentality in a long time, and I'm jealous. I'm actually
sick,
super envious of it.
I tell people, I'm like, dude, I love having a job. I love working for the WWE.
We're a family.
Yeah, that's
dude,
so sick.
We're a family. You see it at ringside, and you've gotten. So I've really watched the maturation of you over the last few years, and how comfortable you've gotten with us. Like in the beginning, it was like we didn't. Especially me. Like I didn't know how to act toward Logan Paul. I don't think Logan Paul knew how to act toward us, and now you're part of the family now. And
it certainly feels like you know why. Well, I'm pretty closed off in general. Like, dude, my team is extremely skinny.
Yep.
Like for the output that we do,
tiny.
There's literally like 4 or 5 of us. And I like it that way because like in general, I don't like people.
Right.
And then over
join the club.
I just don't. I used to
relate.
And then now I'm. He loves everyone. Talks to everyone.
Right.
But no, I started to like open up a little more. And it takes some time with me, but I realized like kind of how similar everyone is backstage.
Yep.
And the saying that I feel like fits the vibe like of WWE is we're all here because we're not all there.
Yeah, that's right.
Everyone's a little cuckoo.
Island of misfit toys.
Yes,
is what it is.
And that's what it feels like. Everyone's like witty, just like fucking with each other, like laughing, having fun. And There's a lot of good people in the company.
To see CM Punk having the fun he is today after what he went through 10 years ago is incredible. But like you guys, like your chemistry is what is Pat and I chemistry. There's the introvert and there's the extrovert. And that is how it is. Like with McAfee, like I'm like you. I don't want to talk to anybody. I got to be polite, obviously, but I just want to keep my head down and go do what I got to do. Pat, holy shit.
And he's like that behind the scenes.
My God.
Bro, I remember when I met him.
He
came up to me.
In person. He had a 15-minute conversation with a security guard yesterday. I'm like, God, we got to go to Gorilla. We got to get out
all the time, bro. He sees it with me all the time.
Craziness. But listen, we have an unbelievable corporate structure. And Nick Khan, Paul Levesque, Lee Fitting, those three men have changed my life. Forever be indebted for them. And it's because of that mentality and because of the trust that they put in all of us is that I would go through a wall for them. Like, and you know, you really, I mean, Hunter and I have been together since day one. I mean, he gave me a wedgie my first 2 months here on television.
That's how ours started.
Right, and we've been together forever. And he, you know, Paul and I professionally, I mean, it's just an unbelievable relationship. He trusts me, I trust him. Nick, as you know, is just an incredible human being. I don't know if you've had much interaction with Lee yet, but Lee is
a little bit. Yeah.
Lee's a genius.
He gave me some nice. He gave me some nice compliments yesterday. No, we can see it in the product. It's cool. I think the company now is a little, from what I hear, more receptive to the ideas that the talent has.
Oh my God, dude, it's so different. Like for the most part, our talent are given bullet points for their promos, and they're not really scripted much anymore. I mean, there's certain things you all have to hit because the storylines, right? But so they're able to be themselves. Who knows the character more than you guys, right? That's really important. Putting together matches is now become Paul, the producers, and the talent. Which before it was Vince, right? That was, you know, so it's really helped the product, and people are having fun, dude. Everyone, you see the locker room now. People are having a blast
because of themselves. And I think it's even more important nowadays too, as there is some breakout from the silo that is the WWE being the only platform. People have their own platforms. So if he's going to go out and tell a story, and then he's going to go and put that on his channels with 25, 30 million followers in his channels. Of course, he wants the story to be creatively aligned with what he wants it to be, to an extent at least, right? So it seems like in that respect, even the WWE is making all the right plays.
Well, and the company was so restrictive for so many years, like, you know, our talent wouldn't be able to go out and, you know, we had a big controversy over the Twitch streams a few years ago. And, you know, but now everything's open up. Go be a brand. The big thing about our company, the big thing about our company is we want you as a performer to develop your brand. We, in fact, have people in place in our offices that are helping our talent, especially the younger talent, help them grow their brand.
I feel like I should be on that team.
You probably should. I'm trying to get McAfee to get on that team too. I think you guys are,
dude. I'm definitely gonna
unbelievable examples of people that have just created something like out of thin air. Really, really. I mean, the stuff that you've created to me. And I'll admit again, I'm learning. Right, I'm learning over the years of all what you all do, and I didn't know Logan Paul at all a few years ago. When you came to the company, obviously, I had to learn more about you. And the more I read, and it's like I'm just completely blown away with what you've created. And the same thing with Pat. I mean, you know, as an NFL punter, like we always knew he was entertaining, especially when he was a player. But to create what he's created, and
he's incredible.
It's craziness. And like I have so much respect for that. Like I'm a lifer. I'm a WWE lifer.
I appreciate the kind words. Seriously. You know, I want to say one thing about the JD spot. Perhaps you could help me understand why he did that.
I have no idea. I texted him the other day. I said, dude, what are you thinking?
Yeah, why did he do that? I texted my match producer, Shane, my guy.
Oh, yeah.
And
Hurricane.
I'm like, and he, you know, we were talking about it, and I was like, Shane, like, this wouldn't have even made it past, like, the ideation phase. Like with the distance, but that distance and then the table right there.
They probably just called it in the ring. That's probably what they did. Crazy. He's insane. We make fun of him all the time because he's got a big head and stuff. He is one of the nicest guys on the planet. He's a hard worker, very respectful. I love JD. I've loved him since he was back, you know, in the NXT UK days, and Jordan Devlin, and just a really cool dude. We have so many great people.
Yeah, dude. You know? Yeah, dude. It's sick company to work for, dude.
It really is.
You don't always know why shit happens. Dude, look at the Doncic AD trade last night. Did you see that?
Oh my God.
Who knows what people are thinking
I
half
actually
the time.
screamed, holy shit.
No, it's insane.
Wade's like, what are you talking about? I said, Doncic just went to freaking
insane.
The Lakers.
Insane.
I heard a lot about
what was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, I was reading a lot about that
100%.
today. Yeah, not being in shape.
Prime sponsors the Lakers, so
there you go.
No, bro, it's a big deal.
And by the way, like the Prime logo on the mat,
crazy.
And now all the logos we've got on the mat, like this would have never happened. We always, I understood Vince's perspective that that was sacred.
Yeah.
But it's 2025.
You know where it makes it a little difficult for talent, especially if talent is trying to build their brand.
Yep.
The last thing you want in your really cool move pose, like is or you with the title
brand.
Is a brand.
Yeah, but
is a brand.
Yeah, but when Logan Paul is in the ring and this is a brand.
For me it's fantastic. For me
it's just got to be the right brands too. Like I would want to get my head smashed in over a Wingstop logo. Are you serious? That's amazing, dude. That's all we talked about for the rest of the night last night. He wanted to go to Wingstop.
You were talking about the branding thing though, right? Like it's funny. Like I'm sort of developing my own brand. Like. And I'm not even working on it.
Is it a competitive hydration product?
No, not at all.
If it was.
There are a lot of things I've thought about, but no, that would be great, right? And by the way, I'm going to have my new Michael Cole drink on the thing. No, it's just funny how it just starts to evolve, right? Like I never thought in those terms until I started working with Pat, and Pat's like, "You're missing out on so much stuff, dude."
All the talent are. All the talent are. Everyone should be thinking about how to not just build yourself, but how to build businesses. Yeah. Long-lasting businesses that have impact. It's the next level of conversation, and use the vehicle you've been given. Use the vehicle you've been given. I think every talent in the WWE should be thinking like that.
Yeah,
and it would be cool to be on that team to potentially
you have to do that.
Help build
it.
You have to do that. It's pretty. I see it pretty clearly for some of the folks in there.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that could really be building off on that.
One last question for me: if there's a future Don Imus, Mike and the Mad Dog. Yep. I know I'm hitting you in this sweet spot right now, watching this right now. Future commentator for the WWE. How could they potentially break through into the space in a time where it's very noisy out there? Do you have any advice? Are
you just talking about wrestling, or are you talking about
just in general? I mean, like if they want to get into the funnel.
It's hard. It's much harder than it was. Yeah. When I went to college in the mid '80s, I went to Syracuse, which is a hotbed for sports broadcasters.
Yeah.
And luckily at the time, there was 4 television stations and a couple cable TV stations, and there was no social media. So there weren't a lot of jobs then. So I was pretty privileged I was the youngest announcer ever hired by network radio when I got out of school. And so I was lucky. But now there's so much programming out there that if you want to be a broadcaster, you can get in, go to school for it, work on it, get in at a small level, and just build yourself. You can only do it through reps, as you know.
Okay, but also how much of it is like the voice? Because you're very listenable.
There's a lot. I did voice training in school and stuff like that. But
you have the radio.
Yeah, you have the voice.
You listen to Tessitore. He's an unbelievable voice. That has a ton to do with it.
It does.
You don't hear a lot of high-pitched, squeaky people doing. Wade Barrett's got that nice English baritone that just sticks out. Pat, it's Pat, and it's just that has a lot to do with it. But it's experience more than anything else. It's just going out there and being able to do. I got lucky that I hit news radio at the time when that was, if you wanted to be a serious journalist, you went to news radio at the time.
Yeah.
And that's and I got lucky, and I got to cover some unbelievable things that really helped shape my life. And then coming into wrestling, I at least had a broadcasting background, and I had done some sports too. I just had to learn this product, but I was ahead of the game when I got here, which is good.
How much more you got in your contract? Can you say?
Yeah, 8 years.
Amazing.
All right. Well, hopefully we ride out these next 8 years together, Michael.
I do. Well, hope you're going to be here that long. We need you.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. I love it. As long as they'll have me, and as long as the fans keep booing.
Yeah, listen, I'll be honest, Logan, and just time to, pat you on the back a little bit. First off, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
I never thought in a million years, when I told my kids I was doing your podcast, they were like, "You're an old man." I said, "Yeah," but I said, "I am so excited. You don't understand how excited I am to do this." But when you first came aboard, and again, I didn't know much about you.
Sure.
I learned so much over the years. I was like, here's another celebrity guy going to come in, going to do a match, whatever. Roll my eyes at it. Yeah,
like Bad Bunny.
He did well though.
Yeah, he did well. He's good.
But then you just and I was impressed when Pat had his matches. Like
his match was
he's incredible.
Athlete.
Oh my God,
I was too. I was like, damn.
I have never, and I'm not just blowing smoke here. In the 28 years I've been in this business, I have seen all-time greats, Hall of Famers. John Cena, one of my great friends, and I believe the greatest of all time because of longevity and how long he's been on top. For me, though, Logan, I have never seen anyone come into this business, and I know you said you wrestled your whole life and everything. This is different. And I've never seen anybody come in and do what you've done in such a short period of time. It is absolutely amazing to me. And I'm not just saying that because I'm on your show. I've said it on the air. It's just I've never seen someone take to this, not only the skills in the ring, but I'm talking about promos and the way that you manipulate the crowd and just that personality and that aura. It's different. And I've never seen anybody come into this business with that ever before.
And I'm only getting better. Thank you. That makes me feel a way I can't even describe because emotions are a little weird for me.
They are for me too, but I'm starting to get a little more emotional as I get older, I think.
Yeah.
It's easier when you say something that is extremely objective and factual.
Well,
it changes the dynamic of the
and I
conversation.
mean it. I seriously mean it about you. Like I did not know what to expect working with Logan Paul. I don't think anybody did.
Yeah.
You are completely different than I thought you were going to be. Intelligent. It's unbelievable.
Thank you.
But the emotion is, as I get older, I think I get more emotional, and obviously with children, it's a very important thing. But I think that's the other thing over the last few years of how I have gotten better at my craft is allowing myself to be emotional. Like Cody Rhodes, for instance. Cody and I've known Cody since he was a kid.
Yeah.
And you know, been through all the trials and tribulations with that guy. And when he won at Mania last year, like I legitimately cried. Like it was because of what he's gone through, right? I know when John has his last match because of what I went through with him, it's going to be a very emotional moment. But I think that helps me with the audience because it's like, this guy's real. Like this isn't fake shit. This isn't scripted. This is Michael Cole loving not only a product, but people that he's known for his whole life. And you want them to be successful. And I hope that I'm able to call, you know, the highlights of your career, because I would love to develop that relationship with you where I'm able to be emotional about you winning your first world championship, which will happen, and stuff like you're winning a Royal Rumble, you winning Money in the Bank. I'd like to be emotional about that. And hopefully this is our first step on that road together to be able to do that.
Well,
so
I mean, inshallah, God willing. How are you getting to Cleveland?
McAfee's got a private jet.
Why don't you come on ours instead?
But I'm doing his show tomorrow.
Damn.
They're flying there today.
Yeah, I know. That's I heard. But yeah, I'm doing.
What jet is it?
I don't know what he's got.
Well, we got a G5, so
you know.
it's a little
Pat,
bigger.
I got to call you. Maybe I don't do your show tomorrow.
I hope he has a G6. That would make me so happy, dude.
No way. No way.
But do you know what you're doing tomorrow?
I don't know what I'm doing yet. But I know we're going to Cleveland, which is just where I'm from.
Yeah.
I'm from Cleveland.
Yeah, they really loved you when you came out at SummerSlam.
Man, honestly, what the fuck?
That was so funny.
What? But show some respect.
This has been fun, guys. Really, I never thought in a million years I'd be on a show.
Dude, this was awesome. Just as rich as I thought it would be. Michael, truly, thank you so much. Keep doing good work. And yeah, man, let's write out these great work.
Okay.
Great.
Come on.
Stupendous, stellar, magnificent work. Michael Cole, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Wow. Like and subscribe.
Please.
Please.
Please.